are listening to SportsOvertime.com. Your blood, our sweat, your tears. No, that's not it. You are listening to SportsOvertime.com, where the clock doesn't matter.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual hosts, their guests, and callers do not necessarily reflect those of SportsOvertime.com, the Miami Media School, or its affiliates and sponsors.
You're listening to Off the Deep End, where we discuss conspiracies, the people who love them, aliens, and a little spirituality. I'm your host, Emmy, and welcome to our show. Welcome once again to Off the Deep End. I believe this is the 13th installment of our show, and we are very, very happy to receive a special guest today. His name is James Charles, otherwise known as Jim. Jim is the main host for the Hucolo or Human Colony videos that you may find on YouTube, as well as a healer and an intuitive, and he has a lot of great messages to share inspirationally with society, and also the beings that he channels also have like great messages for society, and this has helped a lot in my life, kind of helped me further myself along in my quest for spirituality and self-love and all of those nice important things that I've come to integrate in my life. So without further ado, Jim, welcome.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
I have a little frog today, so forgive that.
Oh, no worries. We're happy to have you. So,
thank you. It's good to be here.
Jim, can you please tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes. I'm going to go back a little ways to give you a little bit of a perspective of who I was compared to who I am now. There was a time when my whole life was about retail management or being a manager of some sort. Mm-hmm. But even before that, I went to a religious college, United Wesleyan College in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where I was there for 4 years. So I learned all about different kinds of religions and things of that nature. And I didn't feel like I fit in really, so I ended up becoming retail managers and managers of different things throughout my life. And when I lost my last job, which was a manager at a college, I was actually an environmental services manager. And that means that I was the housekeeping manager, but I also did more. I did the floors. I oversaw all the floors, the cleaning of the floors, the waxing and all that, and also all of the setups for the college. But after when I lost that job, I was sort of lost.
Yeah.
And I was getting older, and nobody really wanted anybody of my age, and there wasn't positions open for that kind of money that I was making at that time. And so I went for a long period of time without anything. Mm-hmm. I was just living on whatever I had saved, my IRAs, whatever, 401ks, everything, credit cards. And I wasn't getting anywhere, but friends of mine saw that I needed a boost. So they took me to Reiki Share. Reiki Share, I will explain that Reiki is an energy healing place. Reiki is Japanese, and it is, I'm not sure what the exact, I used to know what it meant.
Isn't
but I know
like
that
life force energy,
yes,
or something like that?
Yes, it's about spirit with healing and spirit. And so after I got a few treatments from Reiki, I felt great. Mm-hmm. And so I kept going back every Friday. It was every Friday of the week. I kept going back and going back. because it made me feel wonderful. And then one week I said I wanted to help do some of the healing. I thought it was something that I might be able to do. I had a lady named Robin Walsh say to me, "Oh, yes, once I'm done with this person here and you're done with your treatment, you can help me to heal this person over here, because I'll show you some of the moves and different things." So I was like very excited, and I went over and I started to do some healing work, and her eyes got really big, and she said, "I want to see you in the kitchen right now." So I was like, what did I do wrong? I was a little bit scared that I had done something wrong, but she looked at my hands and told me that I was a natural healer, that she could feel my energy all the way across the table, and that made me happy, of course.
Oh, yes.
But I didn't know what to do with it. So I did take some classes after that. Were you going to say something?
Oh, no, I imagine that must have been an amazing feeling.
I was blown away by it. I was going, wow, I actually can do something now. Maybe I can, they have places where you go and you pay for healing and things. Maybe I can make my living this way.
Yeah.
So I took Reiki 1 and I took Reiki 2. And after I took Reiki 2, I started to get a couple customers or clients, because when you're after Reiki 2, you can become a practitioner.
Right.
So there was a few people that really wanted me to work on them because I was effective with them. And one of those people was Max Rempel. Now, Max.
Oh, yes, Max. I know.
We had a weekly Reiki session. Every week I would come over to Max's house. I would Reiki his dogs, and then I would Reiki him. So during one of these Reiki sessions, I started hearing voices. And they were telling me how to Reiki better, how to Reiki Max better. And so I was telling Max, I hear voices in my head, and they're telling me how to Reiki you better. And they're doing things that I never heard of as a Reiki practitioner, like getting my heartbeat in line with the energy that's coming out. Is like, what are you talking about? How do I do that? So they were sort of training me how to be a better Reiki person, but yet they were talking to me in my head. And I thought that was a little strange, and I thought that I was going a little bit bonkers. But after that session, he told me that aliens have been around him since 2009, and they've always wanted to talk to him. And I'm going, oh, okay. Wasn't quite sure that was real or not.
Let's see how that's going to work.
Yes. And so I came back, and I think it was maybe 2 weeks after that, when I was giving him his Reiki session, I heard voices again, and they started telling me about Reiki again. The energy, do this, do that. This will help him better. And I said, Max, they're talking to me again. And Max said to me, can I ask them a question?
Wow.
And I said, oh, sure. So because I figured he would ask a question, they would hear it and tell me the answer in my head if it was real. And then I would tell him what they said.
Yeah.
Well, that isn't what happened. What happened is he asked a question, and Deezdu is the first being that I ever channeled, just came right through me and started talking to Max. And my eyes must have been very big, because I really wasn't expecting that, but he sort of pushed me gently aside and started to use my faculties and my voice to talk to Max. Yeah. And that was the very first time I channeled.
Wow.
And the week after that, when I went to Max's house, before I get ahead of myself, after that session, I was like a little bit blown away, a little bit puzzled, a little bit scared. But he gave me Bashar tapes to look at. He said, "Here, look at Bashar
Oh,
tapes."
so Max has already been studied and was open
Yes,
to this.
he already knew about it, and I knew nothing.
Uh-huh.
I never even knew what channeling was.
So he
Not
kind of
at
helped
all.
you, like, kind of come
Yeah,
into
helped me.
your newly acquired abilities without
Yes.
fear. That's so great.
So and he was telling me about what was being said by the aliens, and that it was good information, and that he was very happy and excited. And the next week I went over to do a session. He had a tape recorder dangling from the ceiling, from the light fixture, right over the bed, so that if I channeled, he could record it. And of course, they came through again. So he started to record every week when I did our weekly Reiki session. I would be channeling at the same time. And like by the fourth week, he was videotaping it. So he was starting to videotape everything because he was like going, "This information is too good. I want this information."
Yeah.
And he said, I think other people should hear it too. So by September, this was May when I started channeling in 2013. And by September of 2013, he had a site set up and was showing my videos online. So I would have never, ever thought to do anything like that, or even that channeling was something that other people wanted to know about, or only maybe one or two that are really fantastic channelers might, get themselves on air or whatever.
Right.
But Max really believed in the information. And so by November of that year, I was doing my weekly webinars. And by January, I had started a channeling. I had started opening myself up to personal channeling sessions with people around the world. So it happened very, very quickly. In less than a year, I had started a business with channeling. I had already had a few regular Reiki customers, but I never expected to be channeling at all.
Yeah,
So that's
especially
my
considering your
channel
background.
story. What?
Especially considering your background.
Absolutely. But you know what? Well, the other funny thing was this. When I started telling people, I told my guitar player, I was in a rock band for many years.
Oh, that's
We did a
awesome.
lot of recording. I told my guitar player, I said, I have to tell you something. I was starting to channel aliens. He went, "Oh, I knew you were a psychic." I go, "What?" He goes, "Oh yeah, all the songs you've been writing are about my life. You've actually laid out all of my life in lyrics for like 10 years." And
Wow.
he said, "Every year I find another song that's telling me what I'm doing right at the moment."
Wow.
And I'm, "What?"
That
And he
is
said,
amazing.
"Oh yeah. In fact," he said, "now that you know that you're a psychic, can I have a reading?" So that was the first action from my guitar player, Derek. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I know." And I gave him a reading, and he said that was right on, and he was very excited about it. And here I thought people were going to start saying, "You're a little bit nuts." But he said, and then I told some other people that I thought were, I told someone that was very, very Catholic. And I was going, "Oh dear, this is going to be hard. They're very, very Catholic. They're not going to be very accepting of this, but there's someone that I know very, very well, so I have to tell them." So I said, I have something to tell you. I'm starting to channel aliens." And he goes, "Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all." And I'm like, "Really? Why doesn't it surprise you?" And he said, "You were always there was always something spiritual about you that I couldn't understand. So this makes me understand it a little better." And I was like, "Okay." So it was that way with everybody but my family. My family wasn't so accepting, but
Oh, why do you think that is? Were they a little more less open, or a little with the religious aspect? Did that influence their opinion of the direction you were going?
Absolutely. They were very, it was a born again Christian family, and I went through that as well. United Wesleyan College is a born again Christian college. If you can follow my thought process there.
Yes.
And but what I tried to let them know is this is not against that at all. This is nothing against that whatsoever. It's just something extra from it that's not taught and they don't know about. So it doesn't go against it in any way, because the thought processes of spirituality are very much the same everywhere. Of course, there are some things that they teach that are a little different, and things are coming out that are a little different from that kind of religious background, but it is not about hatred or malice or anything like that. It's all about love and acceptance. So I'm seeing that it moves right along with Christianity or with any kind of love-based religion.
Yes,
so,
I completely agree.
And love-based, I call it spirituality, because religion includes all the dogma and all the bureaucracy and all the stuff that man made up about it.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention that I like the purer stuff. The purer. No problem.
Oh, no, sorry. There you are, Jim. Thank you.
Oh. I was what?
You cut off for a few seconds there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Could you please a little interference? Could you please start once again where you said that you prefer the pure, and then you cut off.
I prefer the purer spirituality thought, where you don't really need a whole lot of guidelines if you have a conscience and if you have a soul and God is controlling what you do. You don't need a whole lot of people telling you what to do, because you'll know in your heart what's right. Now, of course, sometimes you're going to ask for some help. And of course, sometimes there are things that are puzzling and whatever. But the purer thoughts are what I like better, not going back to bureaucracies or man-made rules. So, but prayer and meditation is better. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I totally agree, because personally, my views on religion, I mean, they've evolved a lot. I didn't grow up in a particularly religious household. I mean, although I was born Catholic, I spent every summer in Mexico. We'd go to church, but, whether or not we listened or not, it was not that important, just that we went. And I remember doing my, and then when I'd come back every fall, we didn't go to church. So I really didn't have an attachment. So I had a lot of space in my brain to ponder the things of the world. But I remember going to take my Holy Communion, and I did not prepare. I was like the worst catechism student, and especially I was learning it in Mexico, and they're like, hey, can you read the Our Father? I'm like, well, no, I can't read that because I'm American and I speak American.
Yeah.
And then the thing I told the priest who I was, doing my practice Holy Communion test, I guess, was that I can't recite any of the prayers because I converted to Judaism. I had no idea what Judaism was. I don't know how that popped in my head. But I was like, I converted to Judaism. He's like, can you tell me any part of the Hail Mary prayer? I'm like, no, I just told you I converted to Judaism. And then later on, we had a couple years where I was assisting the Mormon church with my aunt, who's very devout. And, I learned some things, but I did convert to that religion. But it was mostly because it's what I was doing, and it was kind of like the community that I was in at the time, and just kind of to appease my aunt to a degree,
Yes.
but it wasn't for me. And then I found in that religion a lot of limitations as well. And from my opinion, this is with a lot of religions anyways, but, you know, in present day, a lot of marginalism towards women, and then not a lot of tolerance for varying thoughts, you know, not a whole lot of, not thoughts for conversations, in the degree of asking questions, you know. So I, you know, started kind of like diving into that a little bit, but I always thought, and I'm sorry to, but I always thought, I've always been kind of like your oneness approach person.
Yes.
You know, where, and it was very simple. Like the way I looked at it, it was like, okay, everybody as a child, everybody in the world, they believe in something, you know, and whatever that is, they believe in something, they worship something, they have a philosophy they follow, and whatever that is, you can just call that God, you know. And so in that little similarity, you know, you could say we're one. So it's oneness approach, like, you know, what do we need this stuff for?
Exactly. What I see is that every religion has an aspect of God. They see God in a special way. They look at him and treat him in a special way, worship him in a special way. And that is just one aspect of God. There are so many. God is huge.
Yeah.
And if you were to understand who he was in his entirety, it would blow you away. You wouldn't possibly understand it. But yet, every religion has their little perception of God, and even that small perception is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Because at least they get to see a portion of it, even though some of it is hidden behind so much bureaucracy and man-made liturgy and things of that nature. But you know, God is immense, and he can do anything, and he doesn't need an intercessor. He can do all these things on his own. He is the greatest. He is the creator. And but a lot of people are really glued to their religion because of one thing or another. It might have helped them through a hard time or something. However, that was God, not the religion. That was Jesus, them calling on Jesus, not that religious sect that they. But you see, they feel that they are tied to that because that's where they were at the time when they got the help.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to take people away from their ties with religion, and I wouldn't want to really, except for them to realize that he's much greater, much bigger, and these man-made rules that they throw on people, like, oh, you can't miss church because it's this kind of sin, or you have to do that because it's that kind of sin, or you can't dance because it's sinful, or you can't, drink or whatever.
Or you must pay this much amount of money.
It's a control and a manipulation. You should let God and Spirit guide you in those areas. And if he guides you away from that, then that's wonderful. But you shouldn't let anyone else tell you what to do, really. So that's just my personal view.
Yeah, I really resonate with that. Another thing that I've noticed with religions over time is that, they take us outside of ourselves. Society does this in general. I mean, we are idolizing, celebrities, actors, singers, sports figures, and we look out for outer confirmation many times. But we do not trust. Not all of us, but many of us do not trust ourselves. Many of us don't know ourselves. Many of us, when you ask, "Hey, what makes you happy?" they don't know what makes themselves happy because they don't know themselves. So, like, maybe even the framework of what society has created for us that's supposed to equal happiness is their guiding model because that's all they know. And so many of us don't know ourselves.
They were brought up in, many were brought up into it, and it's changed over the years. And if it's not vital to you, you have to find a way to get in touch with God and make it vital again. So. I wasn't intending on having a religious conversation or.
Oh no, that's totally fine. Oh no, that's totally fine. This is like,
but
you know,
I find that.
We broke off once again.
Oh, did I?
Oh, there you are.
Okay. Here I am again. I don't know. There's a little break now and then in the coverage.
Oh, that's fine.
That's okay. But anyway, yes. I think there's someone that does want to come in.
Oh, okay.
Just to say hello. They're here now. Hold on.
All righty.
Give me 1 second, and I will bring them in. I know who it is.
Okay.
It's Lakesh.
Oh, Lakesh. Oh, Lakesh. Yeah, I've heard about him.
Yes, Lakesh is a small blue Pleiadian.
Yeah.
And he is very happy, and he is an inspiration to many.
I want to tell you that somebody drew his perception of a channeling session with you. I don't know if you've seen the image.
Oh, yes, Con drew that.
Yeah, that was so funny. And that's how I know who Lakesh is.
Yeah, Lakesh is coming in, and Grindel's in the background saying, hurry up.
Okay, yeah. And you got the Seraphims and the other ATs being like, okay.
Yes, they're waiting in line, so that's funny.
That's so cute.
Yes, Con is a wonderful artist. I never thought I'd be the subject of cartoons. But that was very good. I like that.
Yeah, he's totally inspired by all of your work. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
I'll let him know.
Thank you. I love Con. I wrote back to him. I thought that was very funny.
Another interesting thing about him is that he doesn't really want or care for any publicity. Like, I wanted to give him credit for the drawings that he drew. And hey, so I was like, where can I find you on Facebook? I have no social medias. I only have it so I can watch Human Colony. You don't have to give me credit. It's fine. You could share. It's free.
He's wonderful. Thank you so much, Con. He's done so many great pictures of art. I'm not even sure what country he's from, but he's a wonderful artist and he's a wonderful person. So, love that.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Okay, Jim.
This will just take 1 second. I've already done my meditations and devotions, so he should just be able to pop right in.
Awesome. Looking forward to that.
Hello. How are you?
How are you, Lakesh?
I am very well, thank you. And who am I speaking to?
My name is Emmy.
Hello, Emmy. It is very nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, too. Welcome to Off the Deep End. It's my radio segment on sportsovertime.com.
Very nice. I have just come to say hello. Is there anything that you need advice about, or did you want to ask questions about?
Well, let me see. Well, since you've stopped by, would you, for our sports fans, and listeners, they're a different demographic than, I guess, Jim usually channels for?
I would think so, yes.
And I would really like it if, you had something to say to them. And also, we're in the South Florida area in Miami. And we are experiencing a virus scare, a Zika scare. So, if you have any thoughts in general, I would love that.
Very well. Yes, I will. First of all, for all you sports fans, yes, I know what sports are. And sports are very good. I love sports because they keep you healthy, they keep you happy. Because if you like doing the sport that you are doing, it is good for you and good for the psyche. Sports are also a great escape for all those people that they cannot do the physical. They can picture themselves doing the physical thing. They can picture themselves becoming part of the team. And I like teams because teams work well together usually. Now, what I wanted to say other than that was this. When you have a community of people that like a certain thing, you have a like-mindedness and a thought for competition, a thought for your side being better than the other side, or maybe not better, but more successful. So therefore, when you're looking at your sports team, bring it into your own life. Or how successful are you compared to your sports teams in your spiritual life, in your daily life, in your ritual life? Are you doing the things that you need to be doing to make the team win? Making yourself the team. Because many people do not even see themselves as part of the human game, but they are. And they are important in it. You, as each individual, are part of the team and part of the human game, and you must act as such. You must give your part, and many of you do. I'm not saying that you don't. But I'm just saying that I would like to wake up the spirit of team in each of you, that you see that you fit into society, that you fit into the game, and that you are an important piece of it, that you are not just overlooked, or do not let yourself be overlooked, I should say. So become part, be vital. Don't just be the spectator. Just don't be the dreamer, but live some of the dreams that you have. It is never too late to start living a dream. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I have come to this planet and I've seen many a dream that has been dashed or taken away from people in one way or another, and they see no light at the end of the tunnels for their dreams to come through. But do you know, sometimes the reason why you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel is not you're facing the wrong direction. You're not looking at the end of the tunnel. You're looking at the ceiling or the floor or the sides. You must get a new perspective to find that light. You must get a new perspective to have your dream come true. Because even if you live your whole life and this dream doesn't come true, what is it that you have accomplished headed toward this beautiful dream of yours? You cannot give it up. You cannot just say that it is not important. And you cannot say, oh, these other things are more important than my dream. You can set boundaries and you can do your perceptions of what is most important and what is least important in your life. What is that called? But anyway, you understand what I'm saying.
Prioritizing.
So therefore, yes, I look at sports and I see teams going against one another for a reason. They have to win the game. This is their job. Each individual should be like a team. You have to win. Not that it is important to all the rest of the humans in the world, but it is in some way.
Yeah, imagine collectively.
It's important to you to be part of it, to not give up and not let others tell you what to do or others push you off the team, so to speak, in the sense that you're no longer playing for anybody but others. You are important as well. And not to say that to be selfish or to take all the time for yourself, but you do need, I see many people that are totally selfish, and I'm not talking to them right now. I'm talking to those that give everything away.
Yes.
Do you understand what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And
that's a lot of us.
And it is a lot of you.
Yeah.
It is a lot of you. But you need to keep your dreams because that is something that is keeps the fire burning brighter, keeps you moving forward, gives you a reason to lean on God for things.
Yeah.
I know you lean on God for a lot of things for other people.
Yeah.
But you need to lean on Him for yourself as well.
I really love that. I feel like you're kind of speaking to me because, I, like many people, are at a transition point where, maybe you quit the old job that wasn't working for you, and you're just kind of like a fish out of water. Trying something new and seeing what works. And, sometimes it doesn't work as well as that you thought in your brain, but, just kind of discouraging sometimes. And, like you said, you don't visualize the end of the tunnel because you get caught on the details. And so the thing that I thought of when you said not visualizing the end of the tunnel was, especially considering we're talking about sports, is like not keeping your eye on the prize.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But you see, there's so many people that say, "Oh, Lakesh, you'll have to add 4 hours to the day for me to be able to do that. Uh-huh. You'll have to add time to the day, or you're going to have to get rid of something that is in my life that is cluttering it up." And you know what I say to that? There is clutter in your life. If you don't have time for yourself, there is something wrong.
Yes.
There is something that is necessary to be gone. You may say, "But they need my help. You can help them still, but you do not have to help them in so large a way that you cannot help yourself."
Yeah, that you're sacrificing yourself.
Because when you sacrifice yourself, that's an important life that's being sacrificed. You may say that you are helping others. You may say that you are bringing them all in for the prize of mercy in God, and that He will reward you. But yes, He will also reward your efforts toward your dreams, because your dreams are important to God. Why? He created you as a unique individual. He created you to be who you are. Are you the servant to everyone constantly, 100% of the time? Or did He give you something else that you need to do? Something else that is inside you that needs to come out? Some abilities that you are pushing down that need to come out and people need to see. Maybe you're a great artist. Maybe you're a musician or a singer. Maybe you have interests in channeling even.
Oh, I really like that, because a lot of people in general, they push aside their creative gifts or creative desires or their dreams because they do not fit into like the structure that they were taught was good or was safe. Oh, I'm glad you want to be an artist and that makes you happy, but you should be a lawyer, or just just giving in to that.
But you could never support yourself doing that. Do you know what? That is not the kind of attitude you need to listen to, because you may be able to support yourself doing that. Only God knows what you can do best and what you cannot do best. He knows, because He created that fire within you. He gave you those abilities. He gave you those skills, gave you those desires to do it. And you think that He gave you desires to do things for you to be told that they're not important. They are important. Of course, you may not want to make a career out of your singing or drawing, but yet you need to keep them up, because they are part of who you are. They speak of who you are, and they help you to become the greater, more balanced individual that you are meant to be, so that you can actually support all the things that you want to do and help others at the same time, but yet balance your life so that you can be also important. Also important. These things that God has given you are also important. Maybe you're a great sports figure. You play sports very well, but you have no time to do that any longer because you're helping this one, that one, working too hard over here. You need some thought processes to balance your life. So many humans are unbalanced. They're doing too much of one thing and not enough of another thing. And it's causing them to be different than who they really are. They go into work and they're not themselves. Who are they? They are the person that the company or the job wants them to be. They fit into the peg or the square hole, and they're not really fitting in that hole, but they are told that they must fit in that hole, otherwise they don't have a job. But yet they're not being themselves.
Yeah.
But you know what I say to that? You can be yourself and work at any job.
Yeah.
You can be yourself. You can actually go into work and be happy to be you. You may not like the job, but if you're happy to be you, if you're happy with yourself, if you're satisfied with who you are in God's creation, you will have a better work position. Why? Because you realize that you are important, that God is helping you through this. And you may find that job may not last for very long, but there will be something else greater if you depend on a spiritual guide and not people telling you what to do.
Yeah. I totally resonate with that.
I could go into this so deeply, but I'm not going to do that at the moment. I'm just going to say that I want you to all have a happier life. And I see that in this time of your existence on this planet, that many people are unhappy about many, many things.
Yes, that's true.
And the reason for this is because they don't know who they are. They have never discovered who they are really. And they have to become themselves. They have to be who they are first. Discover your true self first before you can actually give importance to anything else. Can you believe that? Can you understand that?
Oh,
you have to find out who you are.
Another thing that I thought as you were mentioning or just talking about just being ourselves, and who we are at the workplace, like we're a different person for our employers and or for others, so that what happens is that when you get off work, you have to decompress, or many people decompress and they go to the bar, have a drink. They go to decompress from the day that they had. So I'm thinking, like, can you imagine at least 40 hours a week spending time not being yourself and being stressed out? That's a lot of time. Yes. And then they go and finish work and they hop to the bar to be happy because it's happy hour.
I need a drink just watching some of your lives. I mean, really. But no, it's true. If you go into a job and you cannot be yourself, and the stress and the tension are so high, and I know there are jobs out there that some people absolutely love, but they have a lot of stress and things in the job, but they still love the job. And to me, that is all right, because it does not affect them the same as those that hate their jobs and have all these tensions. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
There's different kinds of tensions there. Some people are they love the stress. They love to be able to work this. They love the challenges.
Because they feel fulfilled.
And to them I say, wonderful. Keep that job because you love that and you love being in that place. Even though they are putting themselves in that place, they love that place. And so that is not a problem because they will live longer because they love their job in some ways. Do you understand?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
those that hate their jobs and are feeling the stress and at the end of the day have to decompress so much that they can't really do anything else.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing left within them. They can only sit in front of the television or at a bar or someplace and just be a lump. After work, they are just nothing. There's nothing left. This is not a positive thing.
Or take pharmaceuticals to be able to do everything.
Oh, dear. That is so difficult. And I could go into another hour of discussion about that, but we won't go there at this point. But yes, is it really yourself if you're altered?
No.
Is that who you really are? Are you that person if you are in an altered state because you cannot stand to be in the real world?
Definitely
That's not you. That's not you. That's an altered state. Be very clear about that. And I love you all dearly, but I see that there's a lot of thought that needs to go into who you are. I'm not saying go out and quit your job. I'm not saying go out and make a mess of your position or change anything at the second. The only thing that I'm really saying at this moment is do an introspection into your life, because you have got to know who you are, and you have to know what you love and do not love. And if there are things that you do not love, you have to start to take steps to change that. Some people say there is no other place to be, no other. That is not true.
That's what they created for themselves.
That is what you've created for
that
themselves.
There was no options.
They feel they have no options because they've given themselves no options. They've given themselves no space to move. They've given themselves no time to think. And so that is a trap and a cage that you do not want to be in. And I love you all, and that's why I mention it now. Because I think if people were to show who they are in their trueness, this would be a beautiful and wonderful world that you live in. There would be so much more kindness, and it wouldn't be forced.
Definitely.
There would be so much more happiness, and it would not be forced. There'd be so much more content and less arguing and less loss of sleep and less of all the negativity that you have all around you, because you are able to balance yourself, and it won't take all evening for you to decompress. If you are balanced, you can decompress rather quickly. If you are balanced, if you understand who you are and what you really need to decompress, not a drink, not television, but you need maybe a half an hour of reading and then some walking outside and this and that and the other thing, other than the things that you are doing to decompress, things that are a little more healthy, things that are a little more thought-provoking, things that are a little more stimulating for the soul and the mind and the spirit.
Definitely.
So if you find yourself in a rut, please do a self-evaluation, because self-evaluation this time on this planet is what is needed. I see so many lost souls just walking around, not knowing even have any idea who they are. And that's not a good thing. And some of these people are 50 and 60 and 70 years old. And they should know who they are by now. But they've lost their identity.
Oh, yeah.
People have taken it or they have given it away. And that is all I have to say for today.
Thank you so much. That information was so enlightening, and I believe whoever's listening to our show or will listen to it in the future will find it astoundingly helpful. Thank you for your
I
time,
am hoping
Lakesh.
so, my dear, because I think sometimes humans just listen with empty heads and they don't really want any information. They're just sort of wasting time. I'm hoping that some people will take to heart that their life is important too. Their life, although they may not think they have anything to contribute, there is always something. There is always something. There is always something.
Thank you very much. Words of Wisdom by Lakesh. Thank you so much.
I love you very much, and I will go now. Goodbye.
I love you too. Bye, Lakesh.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I really enjoyed Lakesh's presence. He was so informative and helpful and eye-opening.
Lakesh loves the earth a lot. He loves people, and he's always there to help somebody if they need help. So that's our Lakesh.
Yeah.
A good guy.
Yeah. I
Very
felt
happy
it.
person. But, he has a granddaughter, he has children, he has spouses and things, and he speaks about his family every now and then.
Oh.
And they have a very rich family life, I guess. And I find that pretty refreshing. I like the fact that they have good family lives, and I think that's important to him, too. He feels that his family life is very important. So...
Yeah, and I like that you brought that up because it helps give people a better understanding, and I guess let's say a warm and fuzzy about our extraterrestrial friends, that they're not just like this, lonely being or a group of lonely beings who do not feel, who do not procreate, who do not care about offspring, or have their communities, that they're just some, beings in a ship hanging out and just, beaming their thought processes down to people.
Well, he always talks about his daughter. She has his granddaughter, I should say. He loves his granddaughter very, very much, and he goes to see her often. But his daughter keeps saying, "Please let us know when you're coming," but he doesn't usually do that. And so that causes a little friction in the family. I mean, they're still all very good, but they don't like Lakesh popping in all the time.
Yeah.
So he goes, I guess I'm a little, he goes, but when I'm in the area, I have to see her. So
Yeah.
I said, well, can't you just call? Well, I'm just right there, so I'll just go right in.
Just knock
So-
and it'll be fine.
So, but his
Yeah.
daughter gets a little annoyed at him sometimes. So,
Oh, that is so cute.
so he tells that story every now and then.
Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to him. It was a lot of good, beneficial information for humanity. Another thing is he helped give a better light to sports, and how helpful practicing sports or any extracurricular activity is, like team sports. And
Well, yes, he's actually involved in some kind of sport. I don't know if we practice it here or not, but there are sports there as well, and sports on all other planets.
Yeah.
Some of them not like what we have, and some of them very much like what we have. I know a few of the species have a ping pong kind of thing, and they have a soccer kind of thing, and a dodgeball and all that. So it's not exactly the same, but it's very similar. So they do. Some of them play very much more dangerous games than we have here, but I'm not into that.
I was going to tell you that one of my friends that are in the spiritual community told me that his spirit informed him that in the future that we'd not have sports as we know them today, that they would not be competitive. Like it would just be a bunch of group of people just working towards an end goal. I was like, okay, well, that's exercise.
Yeah, really.
That's
So, but
exercise.
I'm not sure we're close to that period yet because
It's a bunch of people getting
competition
together.
keeps people moving. Some people, not everybody, but competition is part of why they do things.
Right.
And for some people, it's a competition for themselves. So
Yeah, I'm glad that you
that's all
mentioned
important. Yeah, we have to know who we are and how we work.
that. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm glad you enjoyed Lakesh. He wanted to come through. Wow, really fast.
Well, I enjoyed this whole conversation with you, Jim. It's been very enlightening, and I've not spoken to you many times before. I think I've hung out in the Hukalo sessions like 2 times, and the one healing session with you that was very, very amazing. That was my first healing session consciously with aliens, with Tikkur and Tipet. That was pretty amazing, and
Oh, thanks.
it's really great. It's really great that you gave me this opportunity to interview you and talk to
Well, thank you.
and share more about you and what you're doing, and talk to the man from the human colonies.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here. It's really nice talking to you. And I've seen you on a couple of the webinars, and I thought that was very nice. And thank you for inviting me here today. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Jim. And before we close, is there anything that you'd like to tell our listeners? Any closing thoughts?
I can't think of anything right at the moment except that, what Lakesh was saying about, I was hearing a little bit of what he was saying and about people being themselves. And you know what? I think that's really important. And I have to say, for much of my life, I didn't know who I was until I became a channeler. And they taught me to be who I really am. And I found that to be very refreshing. And you know what? I don't worry about things like I used to, and I don't think about things the way I used to. I just let things go, and I am more myself than I've ever been, and it's the happiest time in my life, and I have to say that.
That's amazing, and I certainly can resonate with that in many ways. And can you please, now that we're closing, tell our listeners where they can contact you?
If you would like a session or want a comment or anything of that nature, go send it to Jim Reiki, Reiki, Jim Reiki at gmail.com. That's where I get most of my requests for sessions and most of the comments. If anyone wants to comment or has a question, they can ask it through there. And that's Jim Reiki at gmail.com, Reiki, Jim Reiki.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you, our listeners, for tuning in to another segment of Off the Deep End on sportsovertime.com. And we look forward to having you tune in once again. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.